Welcome back to Eagle Recaps. Today, I will explain a Chinese movie, Tai Chi Zero, released in the year 2012. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. War breaks out in China internally and externally with the West, and the divine troops always come out victorious against the imperial troops because of a man named Liu Chan, also known as Freak. Liu is skilled in the art of wushu, and he holds great power. In addition, he has a horn on his head. He gains godlike power if his horn is hit. His eyes turn white, and he goes berserk, destroying all in his path. 18 years earlier, Liu was born into a wealthy home, but he had a horn on his head, known as the three blossoms on the crown. His mother believes that he is destined for greatness, so she takes care of him and hides his growth with a cap. Although his father is not interested in raising him, he decides to raise him at all costs and steals from her husband. Freak goes out to get candy, and he stops to watch a show performed by Old Zhao. During the show, his candy is stolen, and he is bullied by a group of boys. Furthermore, they hit his horn. He falls to the ground, screams, and beats up the bullies. By using Zhao's fighting moves, Zhao senses great power in him as he tries to calm Liu down, but he is attacked by Liu with great force. Liu falls, and he has a nosebleed after the fight, as such power comes at a great price. His mother is caught stealing from her husband, and he orders his servants to beat her to death. But she sees this as a disgrace, and she rams her head into a pillar so hard, leaving her near death. Zhao follows Freak home, but they meet his mom being pushed out of the house. Zhao promises to take care of Freak, and he also states that the boy's gift is attained through decades of training by martial arts. She entrusts Freak to him because Zhao is the only person that sees his potential apart from her, and she dies. 10 years later, in the present day, Freak is now a divine soldier, with Zhao as the master of the troop, recruiting troops under the disguise of street performance. After having his power activated, consequently, he falls sick after the battle, and he is taken to Master Dong, the master healer. It is revealed his power is constantly being used by Zhao, and it will lead to his death. He advises Liu not to let anyone touch his three blossoms on the crown, and also not to fight again if he wants to live. He also tells him that the martial arts style Zhao teaches relies on brute force, which will deplete his internal energy and shorten his life. He adds that Liu will die if his horns turn black, as it was initially red. Furthermore, he tells him that the only way to survive is to learn the internal martial arts of Chen Village. Zhao arrives and confronts Master Dong for telling Freak about Chen's village, as Dong already lost a finger trying to steal Chen-style kung fu. They fight and Dong defeats Zhao with ease, using the three moves he stole from Chen-style kung fu. Freak ponders learning the Chen style. The imperial troops attack, and Dong tells Freak to flee if he wants to live. The imperial troops burn the camp, thereby killing everyone. Freak finds a way and escapes. Freak begins his journey to Chen Village. A group of kids inform him that he would climb up a mountain to get to Chen Village. He arrives at Chen Village, but he is told that their kung fu style isn't taught to outsiders. As he ponders this, he is knocked down by a vehicle. The lady in the vehicle is Chen Yunyang, accompanied by Zi Jing. She apologizes, and he finds out he is related to Master Chen. Zi Jing tries to convince the village to build a railway system, and he tells them about the benefits, but it goes awry after Master Chen's son messed up the machine generating electricity. Zi Jing is embarrassed. Freak meets Niang. She offers him money, but he tells her that he is here to learn kung fu. Niang insists they don't teach outsiders their style. He blackmails her for knocking him down and tells her to repay him by introducing him to Master Chen. Niang deceives him and tells him that Master Chen was on Wuliang Mountain. Freak returns to tell her that Master Chen wasn't there, but she is surprised that he got to the mountain so quickly. Freak picks a fight with her, but she beats him effortlessly, and he falls. He is saved by an old laborer who notifies him that he doesn't have much time to live because of his horn, and says the Chen style cannot be passed to him. Niang comforts Zijing. She tells him to teach her the new technology. Then she will teach the villagers. Zijing already made a promise to the governor that he would get the villagers to accept the railway system in 10 days. Then Niang suggests that getting married will hasten the project, but Zijing grew up an outsider and thinks he is not a good match for her. Niang is at the post office writing to Zijing when Freak confronts her about learning Kung Fu again. She fights with him and tells him to watch her moves. After beating him, she forbids him from entering the village, and he will be punished if he does. Since Zijing's negotiation with the villager failed, the company sent Claire as a consultant to monitor the project. Freak plans to re-enter the village. At the village's entrance, he fights with Uncle Ken, also fights with Zhao at the marketplace. Then he fights with Zhu Zhu at the archway, but loses to all of them. Just like other outsiders and the laborer's watchers on, he meets with the laborer again, who tells him to remember the Kung Fu moves whenever he is beaten and use it against them. He fights Brother Tofu. Brother Tofu tells Lu that he will win the fight if he can knock the tofu off his hand. He gets beaten, but he remembers what the man told him and used some of their moves against Tofu. He is kicked by someone in the crowd and he falls to the ground, landing on Tofu, causing the tofu to fall. Although he won, he asked for a rematch. He continues to search for the laborer and Master Chen, but he loses consciousness. Niang confronts the laborer for breaking the law of their ancestry by teaching Lu Kung Fu. Claire, Zijing, and their team arrive at Chen Village with the railway construction machine. Zijing reads the order from the government, informing them that they only have 7 days to pull their house or the construction machine named Troy will demolish everything. Z starts to destroy the village using Troy. Niang confronts Zijing about destroying the village. He listens to her and stops the attack. Niang challenges the village to do something about Troy, but they refuse to listen to her, and her brothers tell her only the Grand Master, their father, has the power. Niang rebukes the Grand Master and the villagers, stating they always run away from trouble. Claire loves Zijing, but Claire assumes Zijing likes Niang. Also, he doesn't have the intention to destroy the village, he just wants to prove himself. Claire tells him to focus on the mission and gives him the manual for Troy. Freak regains consciousness, and the laborer tells him not to practice Kung Fu again, and his horn has turned black. He also tells him about the imminent destruction of the Chen Village. He mentions that if the village is destroyed, then Lu can't learn Chen style. The laborer hatches a plan to destroy Troy. He explains the plan, which involves Freak sneaking into the machine house and destroying it. Then he will be a hero and will be able to learn imperial arts. Claire decides to leave. Zijing stops her and tells her that he always loved her, but her parents are well-established people and he is not. Meanwhile, Niang is listening as she is in the tent. They start to kiss, but Niang interrupts them. She picks up the instruction manual of the machine and leaves. Niang takes the book to the village postmaster and threatens him to translate it. Freak sneaks into the machine, draws the internal features of the machine, and takes it to the laborer. The laborer understands the drawing, devises a plan to get Freak the essential flywheel, and destroy the machine by jamming an iron rod into the gear system. Freak sneaks in just as planned, but the gear isn't destroyed, and he is surrounded by soldiers. He starts to fight, but is eventually overpowered. Niang joins him, not knowing he was going to be there, and helps him out. She shows him the lock's images and explains how to destroy the machine. Claire is leaving the village, and she tells Zijing to come with her, but he tells her he will come for her when it is all over. One of the soldiers activates the alarm. Claire and Zijing rush to the machine. Niang sees the lock and calls Freak. She stabs the gear with a rod and blows up the machine, ignoring Jing's warning. Freak and Niang escape, but the machine explodes, knocking Niang unconscious. Zijing also escapes with Claire, but she dies in his arms. Her death makes him mad, and he promises to destroy the Chen Village. Freak takes Niang home. She wakes up and tells the villagers that they destroyed the machine, and everyone hails them. Freak stops them and tells them that he did everything to learn Kung Fu. He finds out that the laborer is Master Chen and asks if he can learn Kung Fu, but Master Chen tells him no. He explains that he used Freak to destroy the machine, but he did not want to get the villagers involved. But Niang did get involved in at all, and Claire was killed. He tells everyone to prepare for war, as the troops will be back for revenge. Master Chen has a plan on how to defeat them without having casualties. Then, troops arrive, and the villagers shoot fruits at them as planned. The troops open fire, and the villagers retreat. Zijing tells them to surrender Niang, Freak, and Master Chen, otherwise he will kill them all. Niang confronts him for trying to destroy the village with the Western weapon. Zijing orders the soldiers to arrest them. Freak joins Niang to fight the soldiers, but he is shot trying to save Niang. Master Chen takes on the soldiers as they were about to shoot Niang and Lu. He incapacitates them, including Zijing, as Freak studies his moves. The Imperial troops retreat and Lu pass out. The elder of the village assumes that Freak stole their Kung Fu. After Chen explains, Freak mimic their moves. Niang defends him that he defended the village with his life, and she blames her father for encouraging him. Master Chen reveals Lu's 3 blossoms on the crown. He says he had pity on them, but he never taught him the secret moves. He begs the elder to consider Freak's affliction as he is near death. The elder decides to punish Freak by pulling out his tendon and breaking his bones in order to disable his internal energy. Master Chen refuses to break his bones, and Chen tells Niang that she is the only one who can save him. Niang decides to marry him. He will bear her surname, and hence, he commits no crime. The movie ends with Freak and Niang getting married, and Zijing visiting Claire's grave. Well, that is all for this video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this, and hit the like button to help us. Also, comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.